Hello, everyone. This is Up Your Rank FPL. We are your hosts. I'm AC. That's Bri, bringing you another episode. This time around, Game Week 5 review combined with Game Week 6 preview. Love the quick turnaround time. But before we jump into anything, as always, if you guys are new around here and you like the content that we're bringing you, make sure that you smash that like button, subscribe to the channel so that you don't miss a beat, turn your notification bells on, and follow us on Twitter at UpYourRankFPL. Bri, my guy, another game week gone, another game week right around the corner. Wagwan, how you feeling? Talk to me.
Oh my God, this game week had a little bit of everything in it, man. I'm so happy for the quick turnaround time. I feel like the game week just ended and we're already looking forward to the next one in less than 2 days. This game week was crazy. A lot of wild stuff happened. I can't wait to get into it. Overall, I feel good, but a big part of me feels let down by my team, but I know we'll get into that a little bit later on in the show.
Let down by your team on this particular game week? Are you sure? Like what? I'm looking at your team right now, and I'm like, I like your team.
No. I mean, let down by the Blues, let down by Chelsea. My FPL team was bubbling this week, but Chelsea looks very, very rough.
How things have quickly turned around for the quote unquote Big Six, right?
Hey man, it's crazy.
Except for one team that is not currently there, but it's still early, man. You don't gotta sweat it with the Blues. They're gonna figure out a way. Big signing.
Hey, listen,
big signing.
Listen, man, we have some crazy stuff. We're gonna get into a little bit of news as we get into the, that section of the program. But I'm excited, man. I'm excited. Let's dive right into it. I mean, how you feel about the game week? What you want to get off your chest? Talk to me.
Well, first thing that I need to get off my chest. Ward provided more than his customary 1-pointer. 2 points this time.
Yes, 2 points this time. Haul. That is a haul by Ward standard. 2 points.
Wow.
Love it.
I thought that game should have been a 0-0 draw. He gave Sancho that goal. I don't know what he was doing coming out of his net today like that. He's terrible. He's terrible. He's actually really, really bad. And I can't wait to get him out of my team. But it's not like I was expecting much. I was hoping perhaps for a clean sheet because I did leave Andres on my bench, so I didn't get to benefit from his 6-pointer. But that's kind of the only thing I really need to get off my chest. If Liverpool happened to have tied that game, we would be having a different conversation. But oh boy, that last minute game winner, lovely. I was here. I grabbed my phone, I messaged my girl, and I'm screaming, babe, Liverpool won last minute. I was going crazy, man. I absolutely loved it. I thought that this particular game week, from both an FPL perspective as well as from a footballing perspective, it was very, very entertaining, and the FPL team did relatively well. I'm not sure how much more than the average my team performed, but I'm quite sure that I scored higher than the average this game week. So not much to get off my chest. I feel good. What about you?
Man, a little bit of a mixed bag for me, because I feel so good about how the FPL team performed, especially at a point where it was looking very bleak for me, early in the games, and we'll touch on that just because of some injuries. But the bigger thing for me is just how Chelsea looked. We end up losing 2-1 to Southampton after going 1-0 up. It was not a good performance. Midfield issues, defensive issues, offensive issues, coaching issues, transfer issues. Uh, we got some problems right now. We got some problems, but that was probably the bigger thing for me overall. Just as a footballing fan, I thought some of these games that were played this weekend were excellent. There were a lot of good watches that I really enjoyed. I mean, barring I think it was Wolves, whoever Wolves played.
Bournemouth.
Barring that game, I think that was the most boring game. I don't know if you tuned in or saw the highlights there, but that was a very boring game. But outside of that, all the nine other games were very exciting. There was a lot going on. I enjoyed it as a football fan. Just sucks that the Blues lost again, man. That's the biggest thing I want to get off my chest. Some of the injuries on my team, I wasn't too majorly concerned about, barring Rodrigo's. Rodrigo ends up getting his shoulder dislocated about 25 minutes into the game. And he was looking good prior to. He had some chances. He was getting onto the end of some crosses. It really was looking like a game he was going to return. And, this being his first dislocation, he's probably going to be out for like 3-4 weeks. So nothing crazy, but it sucks. He was kind of that differential for me at the moment. So, that's it. That's the other thing that I think I really want to get off my chest, just his injury.
So, what do you think people should be doing if they have Rodrigo on their team?
If you have Rodrigo on your team at this point in the season, you need to get him out. I think you need to do a transfer. His coach just put out something. I don't know if it was an interview or something that he did very recently, saying that it's minor. Rodrigo's not in a crazy amount of pain, but he will be out for around 3 weeks or so. At this stage in the season, I mean, take a transfer, get him out. Maybe he'll be back by after the international break when most people are wild carding. But there are a lot of other options, kind of in that price point, or maybe you could really downgrade him and get some funds to upgrade elsewhere. But I'd say get him out.
There's gonna be a lot of people who have some cash tied up into him, and that'll benefit from 1 or 0.1, 0.2 mil, and be able to spread those funds across in other ways. Maybe they're looking at somebody like a Pascal Gross, who knows? But I agree with you. I think it's just way too early in the season to hold on to that type of player at 6 million. There is some quality or reasonable midfielders who you can go for, even if it's just a bench fodder, or you can completely downgrade to a 4.5, 5 point, somewhere in that range, 5.0 midfielder, and then spread the funds elsewhere. Maybe some people are considering putting 3 up top. Maybe if you have a Plonge or an Archer still in your team, you got to be looking at getting a Tony or getting a Mitrovic into your team. But I agree with you. I think it's the smart thing to do is to remove Rodrigo, but I wouldn't take a hit to remove Rodrigo out of the team. I don't think it's worth taking a hit just to move him. I'm sure most people have somebody on their bench who can be played. As we've seen again for the second time, lots of people have Andreas on their bench who has returned and they're still not able to get the points. So I would advise against taking a hit to get rid of Rodrigo personally.
Yep, I agree with you on that one. I love that.
So the only thing that I do want to I don't want to touch on all the games just because of time, obviously. But with respects to the games that we were watching, what were your overall, if you have to give 2 overall points, whether good, whether bad, what would you point out? I'll start.
Okay.
Based on the things that I've seen from this particular game week, I didn't have a chance to watch every single game, but I did tune into a few of them. The game in particular that has me very, very concerned is Brentford. Brentford assets are looking a little concerning. No clean sheets in the last 3 games. With respects to their fixtures, it can be a little misleading, right? Making you think that they have a whole bunch of good fixtures that are coming up, but they're not really getting you the returns that you would particularly want, especially if you're targeting cheap defense to get those 6 points for the clean sheets. What makes it a little bit more concerning as well is my attacking player in Ivan Toney. And if you have him on your team, Ivan Toney has not hit the target in the last two games, and they were against opponents who you thought he would bag against, Everton and Crystal. That's a little concerning because their fixtures look so good, and I don't want to remove him out of my team. But at the same time, I feel like I'm missing out on points in the likes of a Mitrovic, who is continuing to surprise me and doing things that I just don't think he should be doing. I'm not. I'm still not going to put the
Still
respect
not a
on his name.
believer. Not a
I'm
believer.
I'm still not a believer in Mitrovic at this time. He faced a Brighton club. Let me see how he did against Brighton. Just pulling up his his stats here because he got a return. He got 9 points against Brighton. Why can't I see his name? So 9 points, 1 goal. Oh my goodness. 3 shots, 2 shots on target, 2 attempted assists. Bonus points.
Listen, you remember the begin when when we first kicked things off and we're looking at drafts. I've been preaching Mitro. I've mentioned him a couple times, and more so in the vein of like, he is just a player when he gets hot, he is somebody that I think is worth jumping on. That's just always been my MO with him. I don't know if he's a season-long keeper, but he is proving that he can return in some of these more difficult fixtures. Right now, the toss-up between Mitro and versus Toney, it's looking like Mitro's winning right now. As it stands right now, it's early, small sample size, but the man is looking good. He's looking clinical. He's looking involved. He's getting chances. He's causing issues for defenses. I don't know if I can say the very same for Toney consistently, at least for the games that I've watched.
It's not. I mean, he's 4 shots on target in his last 2 games, 7 shots total. He's returned in his last 3, and he would have even returned in that Wolves game. What had happened to him? Did he miss a penalty?
He missed a penalty.
He missed a penalty, and he got a yellow card, I think.
That would have been a consistent string of returns for him.
Yeah, something to consider. With respects to the just another general comment overall on the game week, outside of Brentford not keeping clean sheets, now considering maybe moving on from Ivan Toney to a Mitrovic. The other game that I was looking at is, and it pains me to say this, it really does. Manchester United defensively is not looking completely ass. And I know Leicester is not a strong team offensively. I mean, Jamie Vardy has not done much in the last 5 games. He's done nothing actually in the last 5 games, but there could be a little bit of a steal in somebody like Dalot, who is 4.4 million. Their next fixture, Arsenal, Crystal, Leeds. They got City in there, and then they got Everton. So, I mean, 2 tough fixtures with 3 decent fixtures. 4.4 mil with the switch up that Ten Hag has made. I mean, it might be something. Can we maybe say that it might be time to consider Manchester United defenders? I'm just saying. I'm not considering their offense. I thought Sancho was very, very fortunate to get a goal today off of a very dumb Ward mistake. But defensively, between him, between Martinez, between Varane, they kind of look like they're getting their ish together. Obviously, weaker opponents who they faced in the last couple of game weeks, but all it takes is a strength to get your confidence back, and then boom, the chemistry is there, and you're good to go. Yeah. I'm just throwing it out there for the viewers.
Fair, and I mean, a lot of that confidence did stem from the Liverpool game, right? So
right,
they're in a good vein of form. I think me personally, I think they are ones to watch. Dalot is definitely one who I've actually shifted onto my watch list after today's game. So right. I get that. I also very reluctantly just put at if I could rank my watch list, I've also thrown Rashford at the bottom of that list as well, just to keep an eye on him, to see how things progress. But yeah, United assets definitely need to keep an eye on there.
Oh, that's all I really have to say about the game week. I'm not going to talk about the obvious. Erling Haaland. Erling Haaland does what Erling Haaland does. Everybody's talking about him. I don't think there's any need for us to talk about the obvious, so I'm leaving that alone.
Yeah, that's totally fair. Totally fair. I mean, too many chances. Yeah, that's just one where, listen, if you want some more stats on that, he's going crazy right now. It is what it is. City makes way too many chances per game. He's too clinical. He's not even touching the ball. Like if you
Barely.
look at this, he's barely touching the ball, and he's not involved in any buildup. But he's just, he's just too much for defenders to handle. So if you don't have Haaland in your team, I would really suggest getting him in there. If you're someone who maybe has Kane, I know that could be a little bit more of a difficult decision because you're trying to juggle the Pep roulette versus if Kane is going to consistently start. So I know that might be a little bit of a difficult decision. Um, it, I would personally suggest to get him in, but everyone's going to play their game, right?
Absolutely. But if I had to make a meme, if Essential was a person,
Hey,
it's kind of looking like Haaland. I did like that Alvarez started that game as well.
I actually like that too, and I actually like that after everything was done, Pep sent him right to the bench. I love after that. I think it was after the fourth goal they scored. Pep just rounded everybody up. You guys get off the bench. You guys go have a seat, get rested up. I kind of like that, right? And an interesting thing I read earlier just regarding Haaland, because there's a lot of talk about his injury record while he was at Dortmund. It's very interesting how he's not getting a lot of touches in the game, and he's like City doesn't play this counter-attacking type football that Dortmund certainly does. So he's doing a lot more of these full-on sprints, several more sprints per game, and just statistically how minimally he's been involved, it could actually result in him being a little bit more durable throughout the season, especially if his minutes are managed a little bit more. So just something to keep our eye on. But yeah, we can jump off of Haaland, and I'll jump into maybe a couple of other interesting things or just things that came to mind as I was watching the game week. One for me is Newcastle. Newcastle, Newcastle has been such an interesting team this year. They're exciting. And even with all of the injuries that they've had, I mean, ASM is out, Callum Wilson is out. They brought in their new signing, Isaac, and he slotted right in. I mean, he could have bagged a brace. He was off of a brace by what looked like maybe a couple of inches with that second goal being called off. But Newcastle is looking like a good team to me. I think defensively, they're a lot more organized than they were last season. Their midfield, they seem to have sorted something out. I don't know how Joelton has gone from being one of the worst strikers in the Premier League to now being like one of the better central midfielders. It's crazy how good he looks there, with his size and everything. So very interesting team to watch. I've shifted Kieran Trippier onto the watch list as well. Their fixtures over the next few games, they have Crystal Palace at home, they have West Ham away, Bournemouth at home, and then Fulham away, and then Brentford in their next five. I mean, those are five fixtures that you would say, man, there's some points to be had in those games. So just one thing that I wanted to highlight there. I don't know if I trust Newcastle's offensive prowess enough, especially with some of those injuries, but I think defensively there are a couple of options to kind of keep an eye on as things trend, as the season kind of progresses for them.
Isaac scored twice. He's 100% on my watch list. Obviously, the second goal didn't count. That was scary. He did that against Liverpool. Liverpool is not great defensively right now. I get it, but it's still against a big club. And he is 100% on that watch list. The defense for Fulham, though, I think personally, I'm staying away. They've been leaky in the last three games. Trippier, I would imagine you're going after Trippier more so because of the offensive returns that he can bring to the game, and maybe you're not just banking on the clean sheets. I take it.
Yeah, absolutely. Can't just be looking at them for clean sheets. To their, I guess, coming to a little bit to their defense though, in the last three, even though they've leaked what, 6 goals, they did play the two best teams in the league at, 3 to City and then another 2 to Liverpool. So I want to cut them a little bit of slack there. If you look at the games
Fair.
where they should be competing in, they've only leaked 1 goal against Wolves, between Wolves, Brighton, and Nottingham Forest. So I'm giving them a little bit of slack for the 2 goals that, I mean, we expect them to lose.
That's fair.
So that's really the one thing I wanted to mention there for Newcastle. The other thing I wanted to highlight again was Spurs. I know we touched on them last game week, and Spurs offensively, I'm actually getting a little bit concerned with their assets, especially with my favorite player in the PL. Heung-min Son is not looking. It's just not clicking for him right now. He's not getting enough shots. He's not getting enough opportunities, or at least as he was last season, even to close the season out. So if you're someone who has Son right now, and you started with him, 12 mil is a lot to be tied up in someone who is not returning. He is yet to score a goal all season. Definitely a big cause for concern there. I just want to raise that one. That's the other thing, especially against West Ham in the form that West Ham is in. I was very surprised that Spurs didn't come away with those 3 points.
Watch him. He's gonna drop in price tonight, and then all of a sudden, watch him get a brace against Fulham, and then do it again against City, and everyone hops on him, and then he goes to 12.4 in like. I don't I don't think it'll happen unless Salah continues to blank. By the way, but we'll touch on Salah in a little bit. But I do agree with you. I'm not 100% sure what's going on with Spurs offensively, because it's not like it's not like Son is not getting chances.
Yeah.
He's taking multiple shots per game. He's hit the target in every game except for the West Ham game. It's not like it just doesn't seem as involved, but at the same time, it's not like he's invisible. I don't know. It's weird. I can't pinpoint what it is with Tottenham exactly, why it's not flowing for them the way that it did at the end of last season, because it's not like there's a crazy amount of changes to the club. If anything, they've upgraded. They've gotten better. But why is that impacting Son?
You touched on it, and it's just my running theory why I think it's actually affected him. And I actually think it's due to the Richarlison transfer. This is just me. I have zero facts to back this up, but my gut feeling is Son has always been in this kind of tug of war with, who's perceived as the better player for Tottenham, whether it's him or Harry Kane. Most people are going to say Harry Kane, but I think last season he, kind of stepped out and showed how pivotal and crucial he could be to the team. And then when they've seemingly went and bought Richarlison to be the person who is now going to give him added competition, I don't know. I just feel like it's thrown him off a little bit. I feel like that's just me. I just think that there's a little bit something emotional brewing there. I can't put anything else out, more than just that. I just think there's a little bit something there, but we'll see. Hopefully he turns it around and, proves all the doubters wrong that he has so many times, but something's definitely up with him.
Last thing to comment on about the game week, just a question for you. What do people do about Salah?
It is such an interesting question. And this is one that I sat with a lot as well, because hey man, I had to ask myself the very same question. What are we going to do with Mo? And for me, I think the biggest thing was looking at how we actually performed this particular game week. I mean, he seemed look at the numbers, how many shots he's taken and everything kind of going on with him. He had a poor game by Mo's standards. He still returned 10 points. Still return 10 points after everything is said and done. You
Crazy.
know, there's a lot of talk about him not returning enough. If you look at the top scorers in FPL, Mo is still fourth on the list, and he's had a couple of bad games. Again, if you look back, you go to the Bournemouth game, you say, hey, normally Mo buries 2 goals and it's a non-issue, and he'd be second on this list. I think it's something to keep an eye on, but as of right now, personally, I have no interest in moving Mo right now. He's still returning, still getting points from him. Is it at the rate that we normally associate with him? Absolutely not. We expect Mo to be scoring. He's a perma captain candidate, right? We expect a goal every single game week, and that's what we've been spoiled with over the last 3 FPL seasons. So I get it, but me personally, I'm holding strong for him right now. I mean, he's still returning. He's still one of the top scorers in FPL as it is right now. So that's my piece. What do you think? What are your thoughts? What would you maybe look to do with him?
I think everybody has a bigger fire to put out than Mo Salah. Everybody has a bigger fire on their team to put out other than Mo Salah. And that's not really a fire per se. I don't know how he ended up getting 10 points, to be honest with you. It was a hell of a surprise to me because he looked like he was going to get nothing. But I just think that in a time period where we're going to have to start worrying about rotation risk and things of that nature, he's just not going to fit that category. And I do like the fact that he has been so consistent year in, year out, that I just don't think it's really worth anybody. Like, who are you going to make the switch to? KDB? I know tons of people made that switch this particular game week, and what happened? KDB got benched.
A lot
KDB
of
came
people
on and
captained him.
that too. So how did that really turn out in your favor, right? Is that going to happen to Mo in the first couple of game weeks? No. That history shows that just doesn't
Doesn't happen.
happen. Although I was very surprised about the KDB benching, but that's a whole nother story. Overall, I mean, I just don't think he's worth getting out of our team. Keep him.
Yep, that's exactly where I'm at with him, as well. I have no concerns with Mo right now. I'd love for him to be returning more, but as it stands right now, he's not going anywhere out of my team.
Solid. So, how about this? Let's just showcase how our teams did for this particular game week, and then we're going to jump into how our teams are set up going into the weekend.
Let's do it.
So, I brought up my team here just to showcase how we did on the game week. Overall, I'm pretty happy. 85 points. The transfer that I ended up making last minute was transferring out Reece James. I brought in, however you say his name,
Estupinan.
Estupinan. I brought him in because I couldn't bring in Sanchez. So I said, let me get a little bit of exposure to Brighton's defense. He ended up returning 4 points. I believe he got an assist. That's what it was. Just double check.
Yeah, penalty. He won the pen.
Right. Yes, he did. So overall, I'm not too upset. Had I not made the transfer and left Reece James in there, Andreas would have came in and I would have had an extra 2 points. Am I going to be that upset about it? Yeah, I'm a little salty. I'm definitely a little salty over that. But Trent Alexander-Arnold. At this point, I'm either thinking double-digit haul or 2 points or 1 point, or maybe even 0 points. I don't know what to expect from Liverpool defense. I'm not even considering him as an asset moving forward, and I wouldn't be surprised that once I get rid of some other fires on my team, he's going to be one to go. Cancelo, surprisingly, that goal.
Okay, buddy. Wow. Candidate for goal of the week.
That just about to bring that up. Loved it. Absolutely loved it. Ben Me, since I brought him in, customary 2 points. Martinelli, I mean, at his price point, glad I had him in since day one. He's a staple in the team. He's not going anywhere anytime soon. The ball continues to be played up his side of the pitch. Love the 10 points. Thank you. Luis Diaz, nothing. Salah, 10 points, 2 assists. Loved it. Tony, thanks for the yellow card. Kind of upset. Jesus, thanks for the goal. And Hallen, I appreciate the hat trick. Thank you so much. Ward, that's a haul. Appreciate the extra. Appreciate the extra 1 point on my bench. Andreas, 6 points, and Bailey, 2 points. No one's coming into the game. That's how my team performed in the game week. 635K. I am not upset about it. I have now moved up in some of those money leagues. I just kind of want to stay with the pack in those money leagues. Because if I fall behind, for me, my confidence will go and I'll just stop playing. So I just kind of want to stay at the top. Overall, I'm not upset at how the game week did. I like the 85 points. How about you, Brian? How did your team perform?
This is how the team performed. Just brought up my team here for us to quickly go through. Overall, we had a game week point total of 82 points. Average was 58. I'm very happy to finally be significantly above the average. Feel like we've had to navigate a couple of tough game weeks over the last two, and this one truly started off looking like it was going to be a rough game week as well, and that's partially down to a couple of things that occurred. So I'll slide down so you can get a look at the entire team. On the bench, you'll notice that Zinchenko and James are there with 0 points and injury flags. Both of them were injured. James, we knew about. Zinchenko ends up also getting injured as well. So I was hoping for him to be able to pull through. He was in training before, but he didn't even make the bench. So a little bit cause of concern there. And for that, we ended up getting a couple of people subbed in Andreas and Nico Williams. So in the back, Sanchez didn't keep a clean sheet, but for Ward outscored him. So I am being very consistent with my goalkeeper. Doesn't matter who I bring in or have in there. It's a 1-pointer. It kind of is what it is right now. Hopefully Sanchez can turn that around. Then Trent, 2 points. Liverpool, doubling up on Liverpool defense this season just wasn't a play. But Trent is still there. He had a big haul last week, so it's not going anywhere for now. But really hoping for Liverpool defense to turn around. Cancelo, like you mentioned, amazing strike. Nico Williams, he was third on the bench, ends up getting subbed in for one of Reece James or Zinchenko because, we need to play an appropriate formation. He got pumped by City, 6-0. Honestly, the best thing that Nico Williams did during this game was not get a yellow card. And, I thank him for that. It was a -1. Overall, with how well the team performed, I can't be too mad at him because, he allowed Haaland to get the Hattie. Andreas, 6 points, got the assist for the deflective goal there. You touched on everybody else, barring Rodrigo. Mentioned him earlier in the episode. He ends up dislocating his shoulder with Pickford in what seemed like just a nothing play. There wasn't really anything going on. They were fighting for the ball. Just one of those weird ones.
Quick comment. Sorry to interrupt you. Pickford and injuring another player.
I was about to actually say that it's not uncommon for an injury to be around Jordan Pickford. He is just one of those players who, sorry to say it, he's just one of those players, man. I don't think he's necessary. I don't think he necessarily did anything this particular case.
Agreed.
But he's just one of those guys that he just always seems to play a little dirty like that. Just in his MO, he plays on the edge. So
yeah,
is what it is. Unlucky, unfortunate, but we keep rolling with the punches. 82 points for the team. I'm very happy with it. I know some of these numbers are going to get updated as we're recording this really shortly after the United game. But overall, had a game week score of 1,060,000 after the update. Overall rank, a big jump from 4.9 mil, jumping to 3.3 mil. So have a big green arrow there. Hopefully we can continue trending in the right direction.
Nice.
Unlike you, I'm not I'm all right with being a little bit further back. It's not necessarily where I'm used to, but got to fight our way back. So keep it pushing. But that's how the team performed. Happy with it.
Solid. So take us into how you are looking to get set up for the next game week.
So this is currently how the team is set up. We've already made a transfer, and yes, potentially considering another one, but probably not. But I'll talk you through my thought process. We're going to have Sanchez in the back playing Leicester. Hopefully, Leicester continues to be as poorly as they are. I think what you're maybe hoping for here is a nice little 0-0. You know, Ward can get the points, Sanchez can get the points, but I'm hoping Brighton come away with the dub here, especially with the form Leicester are in. Big Merseyside derby for Liverpool against Everton away. They got to go to Goodison Park. Let's see what happens there. Cancelo playing Aston Villa. Hopefully he gets a start. You never know with Mr. Guardiola. Reece James, I am starting him against West Ham United. He has been back in training. It was a precautionary thing why he wasn't in the team. So I'm hoping that just proves to be true and cross my fingers there that restarts. The one who I'm a little bit more concerned with, I should say, is Zinchenko. Even though he was recently spotted in training, prior to the game, he wasn't even in the team sheet. He wasn't even on the bench. And that was the thing that I think more is alarming me with him. The game is against Manchester United. So I don't know if it's one of those where, you know, they're hoping to just get him fit for this so that he can play in the game. But I'm going to be starting him. If he is unable to play, then we have a very favorable fixture for Nico Williams first on the bench against Bournemouth. I'm sure there's a lot of people who might even want Nico for this fixture just with how poorly Bournemouth are playing. They haven't scored in their last how many games? You know, they blanked against Wolves. They got hammered against City. This is one of those games that, you know, Nico could potentially return in. And then I took out Rodrigo. The transfer was Rodrigo for Pascal Gross. I feel like that was that's not even like a crazy track. I feel like anybody could have guessed that was what's going to happen. If you don't have Gross, you had Rodrigo. That's kind of the easiest like for life, transfer. Get a couple of dollars into the bank as well. Mo Salah, Martinelli, and then the three up top in Tony, Haaland, and Gabriel Jesus. Right now, I have the armband on Mohamed Salah, and that's really partially due to him being guaranteed the start. I know a lot of people are going to be banking on Haaland, and trust me, it has taken a lot for me to not do that switch. But I actually think I'm pretty firm that I'm going to be sticking with Mo on this one. I know Haaland's hot, of course, but I think I might be actually sticking with Mo here. We'll see how it gets on, but that's how the team is currently set up. Ward, Nico Williams, Andreas, and Bailey firmly on the bench.
Okay, I didn't know that you already made a transfer. Definitely understand the transfer. Gross is a hot commodity at this particular time. He has skied in price rises. He's already gone up 0.4 since the game week has started. He is the second highest midfielder, scoring midfielder in the entire game. So I could definitely understand why you went for him. Now I'm just gonna bring up one thing, and just to compare with Pascal, bear with me here.
Yeah, no worries, no worries. While you're bringing that up, I'll talk about the transfer a little bit. I ended up doing this transfer to avoid the price rise for Pascal Gross, and Rodrigo is also set. Gross rose last night, 0.1, and Rodrigo is dropping 0.1 tonight. So it's one of those where, hey, if I don't do this, I'm literally losing 0.2 in value. It's just one of those where I kind of had to make the move.
Got you. So you got him before the price rise. Got you.
Yeah.
Makes sense. I'm not 100%. I don't know if I want to go and chase points. I know they have Leicester, Bournemouth, Crystal, some easy games coming up. but in the last couple of games, he only took one shot against Fulham, two shots against. It's not like he's not doing that much offensively, but he is. It's either a goal or an assist in 3 of the 5 games that he's played in. I don't know. He has 2 double-digit hauls. Does it for me personally? I'm not convinced, but I know you've had your eye on him, and you've seen what he's been able to do in past seasons. For me, he's just gone up a little too high in price. I don't think he's going to be seeing my team anytime soon, and then I just can't chase. But I get
That's
why you
fair.
did it. It's a home game, solid. Not too much changing. You think you might take a hit at all, or are you just gonna just say, "Hey, one transfer and that's it"?
The only way that I realistically I think would consider taking a hit, irrespective of any price drops for Reece James or Zinchenko, is if news comes out that either of them won't be playing. If either is for sure out prior to the game week, then I would consider dropping Zinchenko and bringing someone else in. Otherwise, I'm going to roll it. Just because Nico Williams is on the bench, I actually don't mind his fixture at home to Bournemouth. I'd
Right.
gladly have him come in and play. But if one of Reece or Zinchenko are going to be out, that's the only way I'd consider a hit. Otherwise, no, I'm good. Keeping it just like that.
Solid.
Yeah. All right. Well, show us how you're set up, AC. What are you looking like for this coming game week? Talk to us.
Okay, so here's my team. I'm set up almost exactly the same way as the previous game week. The only change that I made was I put Nico Williams in and I put Ben Mee to the bench. Nico Williams more so for the attacking return possibility. He has been relatively decent at creating some chances offensively. So I just feel as though if the clean sheet doesn't come, maybe against Bournemouth, who isn't that great defensively, will be able to do something. My only concern is they brought in this new goalkeeper, that Neto guy, the Brazilian, and I mean, they got a clean sheet. That's how it starts, just a little bit of confidence. So we'll see. I don't know what to take of it yet. I don't follow Bournemouth heavy. I don't follow Nottingham Forest heavy to really kind of know the ins and outs of the team and the manager's thinking when it comes to certain things. So I'm just taking my chances. I might switch Ben Mee back. Leeds doesn't have Rodrigo, which means Leeds don't really have nobody from an offensive standpoint. But yeah, that's how I'm set up. I have the armband on Haaland. I might switch it to Salah. I had a dream before game week 5 started because the armband was on Salah going into game week 5. But I had this real life. I had this dream that Salah wasn't going to return. He returned, so my dream was obviously wrong. But it felt so real, and I was mad at myself in the dream, and it just got to me, and I said, I can't go into the game week with the armband on Salah. I have to. Maybe this symbolizes something. Let me put on Haaland, and I'm so glad that I did to get those 34 points. But right now, a derby at Goodison Park, Everton is not great. Oh, it's so tempting. So I'm not sure what I'm gonna do. I'm also worried about Haaland being rested this particular game week. I just don't know what to think. It's gonna be a toss up. I'll probably decide one of the games. Saturday or Friday? Probably Saturday. Saturday.
Yeah,
I'll probably make a decision Saturday before the first. Well, obviously I have to make a decision before then, but we'll see how that goes. In terms of transfers, though, in terms of what I'm looking to do, I haven't made one yet. I got a couple of options. I have. Let me see. I'd have to go to. I think I have about 1.5 in the bank because I sold James for Estupinan. I'm thinking about possibly selling Tony, but I think it's silly to sell Tony against Leeds. I just think I think it's going to burn me. But here's my thought process. I've lost a lot of money to Bailey. I've lost money to Iverson. I've already lost 0.4. If I sell Tony before the price drop, at least I'm getting a 0.1 back. and then maybe I could buy somebody before they go up. I don't want to buy Mitrovic, but it's hard to ignore him because the numbers are insane. I just don't get why teams are making Mitrovic look like a superstar. It's absolutely mind-boggling to me.
Hater, man.
I'm a hater. I'm a hater.
Mitro,
so I'm thinking about selling Tony, maybe Mitrovic, maybe Isaac, and just taking a punt on him while he still has that low ownership.
Gotcha.
Newcastle is facing, who are they facing this particular game week? Let's see if I can pull that up. They're facing Palace?
Yeah, Palace away.
So I'm thinking I might take a chance there. Who knows? Or do I look for a way to actually get some defensive points? Is now the time to finally sell Iverson? Maybe I bring in Ederson, who I don't really have to worry about a rotation risk, and just say, you know what? Let me pay the sorry, not Iverson. I would sell Ward, sorry. Just for that extra 0.1, it might go somewhere. Sell Ward and just hit Ederson. Don't have to worry about rotation. But I also thought about, if I'm worried about Haaland's rotation, what if I buy Alvarez and sell Tony? And that way I kind of have myself covered. Alvarez already dropped 0.2. He's at 6.3. So I have Alvarez and I have Haaland in the team, and then I have Cancelo. If Haaland doesn't play, okay, Alvarez is likely to play.
Yeah, he's playing.
Right? Yep. And I kind of cover myself in that regard. And if Haaland ends up coming off the bench and going into the game, shit, we know we could do in 20 minutes or less. So that's a little bit about my thought process. I don't have too much time before Tony drops in price. And then when he drops in price, I won't be as pressed to make a decision. And then I probably won't do anything at all, and I'll just bank the transfer. But it's likely to move Ward for a goalkeeper or move Tony for either Alvarez, Mitrovic, or Isaac. Everyone else on my team, I'm at this particular moment in time, I'm not as concerned with. I thought about bringing in Ramsdale for Arsenal, but I think he was flagged. Wasn't he?
Yeah. There's a concern about a potential injury for Ramsdale.
Yeah, so I don't have any Arsenal assets. I don't, defending assets, and I also don't have any Chelsea defending assets. So I also consider bringing in Mendy, but Chelsea hasn't been keeping any clean sheets.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the only thing that I've really been thinking about with everybody on the team. Bailey's not going anywhere right now. Andreas isn't going anywhere right now. Ben Mee is just annoying me, and that's why he's on the bench. But it's just the game week where he burns me and gets a return, and I have him sitting on the bench. That always happens when you do these, when you make these decisions. Something just says, you know what, Alex, tough it out and keep Ben Mee. It's Leeds. They're at home. So I'm not 100% sure in this case what to do. I even thought about benching Jesus. Because of how United have been playing, and saying to myself, maybe this will be the game where Jesus slows down. I'm not so sure. I doubt it, but if he bags and then I have him on the bench, I'm just gonna obviously be mad at myself because I have so much money tied up into him. But those are my thought process. That's my thought process going into the week. No transfers made. I only have one free transfer to make, and again, 1.5 in the bank. If anybody's watching and you guys have some suggestions, please drop a comment in the comment section below. But yeah, not really in a rush, but at the same time, it kind of feels good if I sell Tony and get some money. Just don't think it's worth it with the fixtures that are coming up because they're oh so juicy. That's Leeds, Southampton, Bournemouth. This should be a 3 now. They got to put respect on Brighton's name. Yeah, Brighton's got to be he's got to be a 3 for everybody now.
Yeah, very same with Newcastle. I agree. Those are threes.
What do you think? What do you think I should do?
You know, I think first off, your team is set up. Your team is set up pretty good. Based on some of the transfers that you're considering, it's tough. It's very difficult because, you know, that move that you talked about with Tony potentially having Alvarez, having that cover for City, you know, City is just one of those teams that out of nowhere, they could put a 5-6 love on a team easily. You know what I mean? Out of nowhere. And they don't necessarily need Haaland on the pitch to do that. But in a similar vein, we saw how, like they did this game week, KDB is on the bench. They were 5-0 up before KDB came on, or 4-0 up before KDB even came on, right? So it's just one of those things that could be a little bit tricky there to navigate, but I like that thinking because you have the coverage either way. I don't know if I would look to necessarily bring in a Chelsea defender right now. To be honest, if it wasn't for Reece James's offensive prowess, I might be looking to get off of him. Honestly, if let's say I had Thiago Silva or someone like that, I'd be looking to get off of them. So that's the only thing. I don't know if Mendy's the move, but yeah, I like how you're set up, and this is just one of those weeks where it can go either way. You can just bank the transfer, the team performs great, you go into next game week with 2 transfers, or you do something and who you drop out, ends up returning. You drop Tony bags a brace against Leeds, and you're kicking yourself. It's just one of those weeks. It does look like one of those weeks, based on the health of your team.
Yeah, I just don't know what to do. I was gonna sell Reece James because I needed funds. And I didn't know where to really reach. I even thought about, to a degree, just selling Diaz, but I'm not gonna sell Diaz right now because Nunes is back now.
Nunes is back.
So I don't know how that's gonna impact Diaz per se. And he's also somebody who I'm possibly considering long term once he kind of gets back into rhythm. And I can't obviously have Diaz, Salah, and Trent. So either Trent or Diaz have to make way. I don't think Salah is going to be the one to make way. So I thought about moving Diaz, but there's just no urgency to move Diaz right now. Let's see how he plays a couple of games with Nunes. But yeah, the Tony one is the one that really worries me. And obviously, I just don't want to get burnt, but I don't want to chase the 0.1s or the 0.2s. It's tempting though, because you don't want to feel like you're priced out of certain things. But I have to just stay calm and make logical decisions. But logic is saying, based on Mitro's numbers, the amount of shots he has on target, the amount of shots he's getting per game, logic says he has to be somebody to bring in. And I know he has tough fixtures coming up, because those tough fixtures are going to be Tottenham, but Tottenham concedes. They conceded against West Ham. And then Chelsea concedes too. So is that even really a tough fixture for Mitrovic? And then it goes Forest, Newcastle, West Ham, Bournemouth, Villa, Leeds, Everton. It just goes crazy.
I personally, right now, I'm already starting to work on my wildcard team. Mitrovic was actually the second player that I put into my team.
Right.
Come right. The international break, Mitro's going right in. I don't care how else other strikers are looking, barring Haaland. Mitro's going right. I'm even at a point where I'm considering Mitro over Gabriel Jesus. Just saying. Just throwing that one out there. All right. Well, I appreciate you going through the team and looking at that with us.
All right. And before we wrap up this episode of Up Your Rank FPL transfer news, we have to touch on it very briefly. So
it's been a crazy day, transfer deadline day for most of the leagues in Europe. A couple of them are still open for about a week or so, like in Turkey and some places like that. But the window is closed. So some big news, some big transfers to touch on that's going to really shake up the FPL landscape. One, for probably the biggest transfer to go through most recently, Manchester United have their man Anthony from Ajax has finally got his move. He is going to be suiting up for Manchester United. That transfer is done. So a big move there. Big offensive player for the team. How he slots in with Rashford, Sancho, Bruno, all those guys still TBD, but that transfer is done. Chelsea has also finally gotten their defender in Fofana. So we're really hoping that this Chelsea team can turn things around defensively and start keeping some clean sheets, especially for those still with Reece James in their FPL lineups. Couple of other ones. Idrissa Gueye is back from PSG to Everton. Crazy deadline day one. That's going to be I think that's actually a really good pickup for them. United also grabbed Dubravka from Newcastle as their goalkeeper, their backup goalkeeper now for David De Gea. Obviously, they had Henderson go out to Forest. What are the ones you want to touch on, AC? What else am I missing? I know there's a ton of transfers that happened, but what else?
You didn't even mention your own team.
Oh,
you didn't even mention Abba.
Aubameyang.
Why?
There's so much. Aubameyang is back. Aubameyang is back in London. Transfer is finally done. Marcus Alonso going the other way as well to Barcelona. Right now, Abba actually has a broken jaw though, so he's going to be out for a couple of weeks. His house was recently robbed in Barcelona in a violent fashion. Looks like he got hit in the jaw. Something going on there, obviously crazy, but he's okay. He's going to be out for about 3 weeks, I think is what I saw being reported.
There were some other players, but I'm not sure from an FPL perspective how important they are going to be. It's kind of too early to tell. Willian to Fulham.
Yeah.
Not sure how the winger is going to slot in on that team, but someone who has the ability to deliver and whip balls into the box for the likes of Amitro, playing to his style. I don't think it's a bad signing. I'm just not 100% sure how that's going to impact FPL things. So we still want to keep it FPL. From a footballing perspective and strengthening Fulham's team, great. I think it's a great signing for them. But from an FPL perspective, definitely a wait and see. God knows what price he's going to be at. I remember one time he was priced at like 8 point something million. Like, I'm not paying no 8.0 nothing for this guy when you have a Mitrovic at still under 7 at this particular time. So there's just no way. The only other name that maybe can do something from an FPL perspective, Dendoncker to Villa, because Villa has nothing. But it's not like Dendoncker did anything before when he was on Wolves. So I don't have any other names on my list of any players that can make an impact. You touched on the very first one, United. I can't believe in our prep for this that I didn't even have him on the list. Obviously, the biggest biggest signing for before the transfer window closed, but he's obviously going to be slotted into the team eventually. I don't see that taking too long. And I actually want to see how Aubameyang is going to be once he heals up. I like Aubameyang. I don't know how the pairing is going to be, him, Sterling, Mount, all of them boys, how that's all going to work out. But I'm pretty excited to have Aubameyang back into the Premier League, personally.
Same. I mean, he's an out-and-out striker. Kai Havertz is not a striker. He's playing in a position that's not his natural role. Abba will slot right in there. Sterling can play off the left and, or the right. Sterling can play on either wing, but hopefully it works out. Abba is, I think it will. I don't know, because Abba is used to getting a lot better offensive service than what this current Chelsea team is providing. So we'll see. I'm happy about the transfer because that definitely gives them some more options, which is great. Another one that might go a little bit under the radar, Manchester City did sign another defender. Something for us to keep an eye on. You know how Pep moves. I don't want to butcher his name, but the idea is that he would be someone that they do not plan on sending on loan. and that he is he's going to be someone who's going to be kind of in the rotation on the lower end of things. So when Pep likes to bench Laporte or Diaz or Stones and switch things up a little bit, just something to keep an eye on. Nothing that I think is going to affect us in the immediate short term, but something out there.
Plus, Nathan Ake is going to come back from injury. There's a lot of defenders on that squad. As a matter of fact, now that you brought up Stones, maybe he should be on my transfer thoughts going into this game week.
hey, that's not a bad shout. Honestly, even when I'm thinking about the transfer for Zinchenko, the only two people that I have 3 people on the list who I'm looking at. One of them is Kieran Trippier. The other one is a City defender, maybe Kyle Walker, maybe Stones, and then was Brighton, but I brought in I ended up bringing in Sanchez already, so we're not about to double up on that. That's just crazy right now.
Transfer wise, nothing else for me to really say. I mean, Billy Gilmore to Brighton, and Arthur Neto to Liverpool. From an FPL perspective, I'm not seeing anything for us to really say anything about, so I'm gonna just leave it right there.
All right, sounds good. Well, I think we've essentially covered everything with that. Then AC, if you're new here, please be sure to subscribe to the channel, like the video, leave a comment. If you're someone who captained or didn't captain Haaland, let me hear your thoughts. Would love to get a sense of what's going on with you guys. Also, you can follow us on Twitter at UpYourRankFPL. That's where we're going to be putting in the latest transfer news coming up closest to the deadline. That's where we're going to be putting a lot more of the information that's off the cuff. So be sure to follow us there, and we will catch you in the next video. Peace. Have a good one. Be sure to like and subscribe.